If your dog's coat is pulling or rubbing under the front legs, this simple pattern adjustment will make a big difference. So one of the things that you can do when you are measuring your dog is figure out exactly where the withers measurement is. You find this by running an imaginary line straight up from behind the dog's front legs up to the spine. And that's where their shoulders are, or what we call withers on a dog. And this position, this measurement is so important because it tells you exactly where you want to put the portion of the coat that you're making that goes in behind those legs. So if you ever find that the garment that you're making for your dog is pinching behind their legs, it's probably because you've got the withers in the wrong place. So this is a really simple pattern. It's the cozy coat pattern. And what I want to do is move the position where this sits on the coat to the correct position for my dog Scout. Now, as you can see, this line, if I drew an imaginary line up from this point here, straight up to the top of the coat where it folds, this is where it runs along the spine of the dog. If I read an imaginary line straight up there, that would be where the withers would be based on this pattern. However, my dog Scout has a very long withers position. There's a really large space between where this sits around the collar, around her neck, and where her withers are. So I've already gone ahead and drawn a line, an imaginary line here for where her withers are actually at. If I was to draw a line straight up from here, where the belly band sits, and drew a line straight up there, that would tell me where the withers position normally is set. So if I measured that, I can see that that is 4 inches from where the collar is, or the neck on the dog, to where the withers is. Scout has a withers of 8 inches. Because she's a porty doodle, she has a really deep chest, and that sets her withers back quite a bit further than some other dogs. So her withers are 8 inches. So if I measure along here, I can create a line, as I've already done, for where her withers are. So they come down here. So what I need to do in order to reposition the belly band so that it's actually going to wrap around where her legs are actually positioned, I need to cut this section off here and then move it over. So on my cozy coat pattern, you can see there's a little scissor icon here and a dotted line that goes along. So what I do is I simply cut this off straight along that line, cut it off there, and then just shuffle it over to position it into the right place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and I'm going to just start slightly to the left, basically to where that curve ends, and I'm going to cut to where the curve ends on this side. So you just want to start on either side of that. So if I take my X-Acto knife and cut it off right around where those scissors icon is, and I go straight across, oops-a-daisy, ripped my pattern, go straight across, and I'm going to end just past there. And then I'm just going to slice it open here, and I'm going to slice it open there. That allows me to take this belly section and shuffle it over. So I drew a little bit of a line there, as we had for drawing straight up from where it was positioned. And I'm going to match that line up with where my new withers position is for Scout. I'm actually moving this quite a bit further along, but it still lines up beautifully with the end of the coat. And then I would just simply patch that back on there. So you can just take some tape and tape that together, and I'll tape my little rip that I just did as well. And then I would also take a little bit of extra paper and continue that seam allowance along there between these two areas. But I won't do that now. I just wanted to give you an idea of how this allows you to change that position of where the belly wrap sits on the coat. in a lot of cases, if you were shuffling the withers that far back, you're likely going to have to do a little bit more of a continuation from here down, because more than likely you're going to have a longer back as well. It all depends on the dog, but just for example, for Scout, she is from the neck all the way down to the tail on Scout measures 27 inches. So if I measure this, it's just slightly over 18 inches. So I would actually need to add an extra 9 inches to this to get the full length to match Scout. So I would cut this pattern anywhere where there is a flat section that doesn't have any curves to it. So you don't want to cut where there's a curve here or where there's a curve here. But if you can find a section that's flat in between any curves, then I would do a cut there. And then I would extend that out. So I would get an extra piece of paper and I would put a little piece of paper in between these two pieces to give myself that extra 9 inches. So I won't do that now, but I just wanted to show you how you can extend and customize a pattern like this so that it isn't pinching in behind the front legs and pinching under the armpits on the dog, and also how you can extend it so that you can get a longer dog coat.